This is grade 7, module 4, lesson 3. I can identify and write expressions to represent rational number problems. All right, here we have our word problem, our example problem here. The temperature inside Scott's refrigerator is 3.6 degrees Celsius. The temperature inside Scott's freezer is 19.5 degrees Celsius cooler. What is the temperature in Celsius inside Scott's freezer? So we have a subtraction problem here, and if we had our number line as well, just to give us a visual, here is 0. We'll put 3.6 degrees Celsius over here. The temperature inside Scott's refrigerator is 3.6. The temperature inside Scott's freezer is 19.5 degrees cooler. So be careful to understand that it's not saying it's negative 19.5 degrees Celsius. It's saying it is cooler, 19.5 degrees cooler than what is in the refrigerator. So we can do a subtraction problem. We start at 3.6, and we're going to go over that 19.5. We're going to subtract that. Anytime you have a subtraction problem, you are going to add the opposite. So we had a subtraction problem. We added it, or changed it to addition, and then the opposite of the second number. So this was a positive 19.5. Now it's a negative. And they took the time to rewrite this. Super important, very helpful. Our new problem reads 3.6 plus negative 19.5. Now, like we've been doing the previous lessons, you are going to use the sign of the greater absolute value, the number farthest away from 0. So here 19 is negative, and that is the number farthest away from 0. So our answer will be negative. And then we need to subtract. So we have 19.5, 3.6. We do our subtraction, and we get our negative 15.9 degrees Celsius. All right, we have Nora. She is jogging 4.5 miles on Monday. She jogs 1.5 miles fewer on Tuesday. Write and evaluate an addition expression. So they want addition expression to find how many miles Nora jogs on Tuesday. So just like with all of our word problems, we're going to highlight what's important. So Monday, she jogs 4.5 miles. And then she jogs 1.5 miles fewer. 1.5 miles fewer on Tuesday. Write and evaluate that expression, an addition expression. So we are going to be adding. We have 4.5 miles as our starting point, where we would put our dot on our number line. And then we need to add our 1.5 miles. That's fewer. So fewer miles than what they did on Monday. So we're going to add negative 1.5. Now we're going to have the same steps that we've had in previous lessons. The numbers will get a little more difficult, but this process, the steps are still the same. So we're going to see which number has a greater absolute value. Here our positives do. 4.5 is farther away. So I'm going to put a positive sign there. It's not needed, but it helps to know that you've done the work and you know that your answer is positive and you're not just forgetting a negative. You know 4.5 is greater. a greater absolute value, so your answer will be positive. And then we need to subtract. So a little fraction review, you're doing 4.5 minus, or 4 1/4, sorry. 4 1/4 minus 1.5. So pause the video. When you think you have an answer, unpause it. Once you've subtracted that, you should get a positive 2 3/4. So that is your expression. So here's your expression right here. Again, an expression does not have an equal sign. An equation does, expression does not. And then our answer is 2 3/4 miles. All right, so let's go down here and practice some number problems here. So we have some fractions, some decimals, some mixed numbers. When you are working through these problems, anytime you see a subtraction problem, you need to add the opposite. So you need to figure out which one of these needs to have the add the opposite. So on your paper, just look through this. Which ones are we going to add the opposite? 5 and 6. These are subtraction problems. So we are going to change both of these to addition. That's the add part. The opposite is changing that second number. So like here we had a negative 10.5. We're going to change that to addition. Our second number here was a positive 5/6. Now it's a negative 5/6. And I want you to take the time to rewrite your problem. Negative 7.16 plus 10.51, negative 3 2/3 plus negative 5/6. All right, please pause this and evaluate these 4 problems here on the bottom, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Pause it, and then when you think you have an answer, unpause it. All right, for number 4, we have negative 1/3. For 5, we have 3 35/100ths. For 6, we have negative 4.5. Okay, you're combining these, your negative. You have a negative plus more negatives, so you're going to have a really big negative. And then for 7, we have negative 1.87. Your negative here has a greater absolute value than 4.97. So your answer will be negative. And then for 5, we have a positive because 10.5 is bigger, has a greater absolute value, a greater distance from 0 than negative 7.16. So our answer is positive there.